Alright, this time on Mrs. White, we're going to work on the rear suspension. We'll build the step notch kit. I put the bed on and we're testing fit to make sure my centers are correct. I want to make sure that step notch gets placed where the axle will be centered on it, so that the bridge kit's in the right place and all that. So we'll take this bed back off, we'll weld the step notch in, move on to the bridge kit, locate the axle, maybe start working on that 4-link, but that may be for a future episode. So follow along. I'll probably put you on time lapse because most of this is just me standing around thinking about what I'm going to do next. So thanks for watching.
Also, this is part of the reason why I haven't been getting shit done lately. Ornery little puppy Veda. Let's see how she turns out. So what I did was I set it at the lowest point, basically setting on the running boards. And I set up my wheels, diameter 26, 27 inches with my plywood wheels. Found out what top of axle is, and that dimension is what I need to have for clearance here. And then I added about a 1/2 inch. So I've got center line marked on the frame, center line marked on my step notch, my top of my axle set, and then I came and I marked where I'm going to meet my frame here and here. I take that dimension and I transfer it to the top half piece, and I dyed it and marked it on both sides, and I'll cut that. Then my plan is to take these spacers that I've made just for mock-up, and I'll set them in here, tack it up, set it on there, make sure it's the way it needs to be, and I'll fully weld them out. Then when I got the hats where I want them, I'll set them on there, weld them in place, then I'll take the Sawzall and I'll cut this middle piece out and put the new inner in there and weld it up. So I'll probably put you on time lapse and let you watch that whole process. the step notches all fabbed up and TIG welded together. Tomorrow, I think I'll have to, kind of like I did on the front frame rails, I'll have to trim a little bit off that bottom frame rail, because the top is what, 2 5/16. The bottom is at least another 1/8 inch wider, so I'll trim that off, weld those in place, and then I need to trim out the middle. Alright, so what you saw there was me trimming that bottom frame rail to the same width as the top. That way everything's parallel all the way down. I do see that this frame rail is kind of twisted in a little bit. We'll fix that when we put the bridge kit on, but for now I'm gonna make sure everything is level, and I think what I'll do is I'll tack these notches in place, and then maybe start tacking on maybe a temporary cross member where the bridge kit's gonna go. But yeah, that's what you saw there. Alright, I got these tacked in. I need to try to pull them frame rails straight up and down. I'm gonna pull a measurement outside of frame from this cross member, top and bottom, and transfer that to the frame rails back here. Put a couple of temporaries in for now. Alright, I'll have to think about this one for a little bit. I've got the top dimension the same as the bottom now with this temporary cross member, but now I am leaning driver's side with the top of the frame rails on both sides, so just gotta find something to pull it back into square. Probably a ratchet strap of some kind. Lean in driver a little bit. Okay, I think I squared it up pretty good. Way better than it was. Think I'll weld it in. Okay, we're welded in place and the centers are cut out. Next I need to put that bottom hat, I guess I'd call it, in there, fit it up and get it welded. But hacked up stock frame. What you've been seeing is I laid out the width of the frame rails, inside the frame rails, 29 1/8 on the floor. And then I tacked up the bottom bag mounts on the axle where they need to be and got center to center on the bags. So I've got the 22 inches center to center for bags, and then 29 1/8 for outside of the frame rails, or inside the frame rails. So that is the upper bag mounts. Next I need to figure out how to mount this cross member in there. It should be, I don't know, something, I suppose something like that, so we'll avoid the pumpkin and the pinion there. So maybe I'll tack these into place and then I can break them off and set them on the welding table and weld them in place. So I'll continue to kind of chip away at this. Sit and stare is what most of it is. Okay, all weekend we had my kids' birthday parties, turning 5 and 7, so we had slip and slides and water games and yard games, and then our well went out, so spent most of the day trying to get that figured out. We got water again, so I'm gonna tinker on this for a little bit so I can relax. So I don't have a tubing notcher to notch this cross member, but I do have a mill and a hole saw, so I think that's the way I'm gonna attempt to go about it. Hopefully I don't murder this thing, but I'm gonna give it a shot. It's only metal. Here it is, all notched and bridged. Now I need to get going on these four link bars. Got a little bit more reading and studying to do to figure out how I want to set them up. Gonna be kind of limited because of this brace for the running boards on total length. You can get a 20-inch bar in there. I'd like to have it a little longer and get it up here, so I might get creative and do something different with this running board brace. But been practicing on my TIG welding. This is really my first project doing any TIG welding. I'm making some progress. It's a lot more relaxing than MIG welding, that's for sure. So but yeah, there it is. I guess the next video we'll jump in on the 4 links. So thanks for watching.